Welcome to Real Tech, Real Talk, a podcast from CXpose.tech. AI has emerged as a powerful tool in the fight against cybercrime. By leveraging its ability to analyze vast amounts of data and identify patterns, we can potentially detect and respond to threats more effectively than ever before. But as AI becomes more sophisticated, can it also be used by malicious actors to launch new and more dangerous attacks? Joining us to discuss the challenges, opportunities, and the future of AI in strengthening our cybersecurity posture is the Chief Product Officer at Securonix, Haggai Polak. All right, Haggai, thank you very much for joining Real Tech, Real Talk. It's great to have you with us today.
Thank you. Thank you, Kumar.
For the benefit of our viewers who may not necessarily be familiar with Securonix, maybe you could give us like a brief overview of the company, like the value proposition and focus in the cybersecurity space.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm the Chief Product Officer at Securonix, and Securonix has been a vendor providing SIEM solutions in the cybersecurity space for over 10 years now. SIEM solutions are an essential building block of the cybersecurity technology stack of many organizations, especially large organizations with compliance requirements, as well as kind of demanding cybersecurity posture needs. And what we do is essentially analyze vast amounts of events, in a way collect logs and telemetry from as many different sources as possible, perform advanced analytics on those logs and those sources of information to try and identify anomalies that could indicate a potential breach or an attack or compromise that's happening in an organization, try and detect that attack or breach as soon as possible, reducing what's known in the industry as mean time to detect, MTTD, and then helping with remediation, helping with the MTTR, the reduction of the mean time to remediate. The objective is to make organizations safer by having all of this massive amounts of telemetry come in, performing very advanced analytics, and then detecting and helping remediate threats.
All right. Great. Appreciate the intro, Haggai. So in today's episode, we'll be diving into the evolving world of cybersecurity, where AI is playing an increasingly pivotal role, well, for both good and bad, right? In fact, I think there is a security finding which was released by Microsoft and OpenAI earlier this year. The findings warn that cyber criminals are leveraging AI tools and large language models to boost their attacks. And the findings also mention a number of state-affiliated threat actors using the likes of ChatGPT as part of their operations. I may not be exaggerating when I say that we are probably in an era of cybersecurity where organizations are going to have to fight fire with fire. In this instance, you have potentially having to deploy AI as part of your entire cybersecurity posture, to fend off threats from threat actors who themselves are deploying AI with malicious intent, right? So what are the key considerations for implementing AI-driven cybersecurity solutions that basically align with business objectives as well as risk tolerance?
Yeah, I love the analogy of fighting fire with fire because that's exactly the situation. It is well documented that threat actors will leverage every tool at their disposal with a thriving marketplace economy for threat actors and for attackers to be more effective, more destructive, and essentially improve their attack capabilities. And just like we all in the IT space are jumping on the AI bandwagon, so do the attackers. So there are, again, thriving toolkits and marketplaces for attackers to use AI to help them create new vulnerabilities, create scripts, automate scanning, even going as far as using AI for deepfakes to do more effective social engineering. And we expect this to continue. It is a powerful tool that, at the hands of the attackers, can help them be more targeted, more focused, more destructive, create attacks that are more sophisticated, more stealthy, at greater volumes. So why wouldn't they want to use that?
Yep.
And as you said, the only way we as defenders have any chance to meet this new challenge is to try and leverage the same technologies to defend organizations. And I would love to elaborate on that a little bit. When we look at the type and amounts of threats that a typical organization see, volume and noise is a very common problem. If we combine that with the ever-present shortage of cybersecurity personnel, we never have enough analysts, we never have enough researchers, we never have enough people that know how to do remediations or investigations. What we see is that the typical alert fatigue of cybersecurity operations team becomes even more pronounced in this new era of AI-powered attacks. So what organizations need to do with the help of vendors like us who adopt AI technology to defend is to use the right techniques to improve the efficiency of that analyst. So an analyst that previously maybe needed 20 minutes to investigate an alert can now do it in 2 minutes. If they needed 15 minutes to do a remediation, they can now do it in 90 seconds. So this 10x improvement in the efficiency of an analyst, the reduction of the mean time to detection and remediation, is very much powered today by AI. Now, I'm going to add an additional point to that. Cybersecurity space has been an early adopter of various AI techniques. If we look at the broader picture of AI, that includes machine learning and neural networks and data science, and now it's all of a sudden became ever more popular because of Gen AI, but our industry has been using AI mostly with machine learning models to go through vast amounts of data and come back with probabilities of malicious activity or malicious payloads for about 20 years now. We obviously do see an exponential growth in adoption and in technology, and we leverage it as a vendor community. But we've been using AI to protect our customers for a very long time.
You did mention earlier about the shortage of, analysts, etc. But it seems to me that this, issue with talent shortage issue, especially in cybersecurity, or maybe even upskilling issue, seems to be a global problem. I used to think it's only a problem in this part of the world, but now that you're telling me, it seems like it's everywhere.
It is. It's well documented. There are several million open positions at a time. Yeah.
Right. So now that you've just explained, given the increasing sophistication of these attacks, right? So how is Securonix keeping pace with these developments, especially to outmaneuver the bad guys?
Yeah, so we do it with a combination of, again, research, awareness, and technology. We have our own cyber research team that keeps track of threat actors and techniques that they use, and comes up with new detections. It's essentially content. If you think about almost every cybersecurity product, you have the engine, the product, but then the product is useless without content. Think of a television that doesn't have a streaming service, right? That's just going to be a black box that's sitting there and doesn't do anything. So cybersecurity products are very similar, and they do need to be continuously fed with content that allows them to match policies and detections and algorithms and machine learning models against the latest threats. So that is something that we do continuously. to try and catch up with the bad guys, the threat actors, and their various threat techniques. We also implement detection tools in the product, leveraging, again, some of the latest technology out there. One that I always love to mention is one that we launched earlier this year in the RSA conference, which is the premier security conference held in San Francisco every year. And it has the catchy name of psycholinguistics, or insider threat hunting using psycholinguistics. Psycholinguistics.
First time hearing of it.
Yeah, very catchy name. It's actually amazing that our marketing team let us use that name. Psycholinguistics is the science of analyzing intent or psychology or behavior from language. And if you think about it, we use language all day. When we type something into our Google search, for example, how to launder money.
Oh.
It's pretty obvious what our intent is. But let's say we are typing something else, non-disclosure agreement. Now, this could be a benign search request, especially if I work in the legal department, but it could also be an employee looking for information on how to break the non-disclosure that they have with their employer. So gaining understanding of the user's intent from their use of language, which exists in activity logs and other systems that we have access to, allows us to correlate that user's actions with the language that they use. And that allows us to very accurately calculate the probability that we have a malicious insider. And malicious insiders are a big problem in the industry. We all like to think about the hackers like you see them in the stock photos, right? Sitting in a dark room with a hoodie and
There is quite a lot of options to
yes, but a lot of malicious actors are actually insiders. They're disgruntled employees, they're activists. There are a lot of documented reasons why your employees, your insiders, your partners may be malicious. And they are much harder to detect because they're already inside the organization. They have access, they have credentials, they don't need to breach any perimeters. So detecting insider threats is one of the hardest problems in our industry, and that's a specialty of our company. That's where we originally came from, doing user and entity behavior analytics. And what we now do is leverage LLMs, large language modules. So we kind of ride the Gen AI train, but in a unique way, leveraging LLMs to do very accurate, very detailed psycholinguistics analysis. And when we correlate events that we see in the IT environment with intent and psychology of the user, we can reach ever higher levels of accuracy, detecting, investigating, and incriminating these malicious insiders.
Okay. Talking about malicious actors, a rather concerning trend today is that sectors such as finance and healthcare, which often deal with very valuable and sensitive information, have become prime targets for these people, especially the advanced threats. And there are many reports and studies that actually substantiate this. So, what are the most pressing challenges that these industries encounter when defending against like AI-enhanced threats? Maybe you could also shed some light on how Securonix is helping businesses build this resilience against these advanced threats.
Yeah. So some of the industries you mentioned are heavily regulated. They have secrets that they need to help keep. And that means that while they face the same technical challenges, the stakes are much higher, because if they are breached, either private or medical information can get out, but people can actually die, right? If a hospital is shut down because of an attack, if machines in the surgery room are being impacted, if critical infrastructure is being impacted, then lives are at stake. So I would say that we definitely see much more awareness, and much more investment, and much more expertise in these industries and these verticals, and they come to us and they do seek for the latest tools available in order to effectively combat against these kind of new attacks. What we try to do to help them, among some of the more generic tools that we provide, is also give them very targeted, almost personalized content. So if you are healthcare, we're going to know what are the unique threats that are relevant for your organization. If you're healthcare in a specific geography, we may even be able to be more specific because we saw some kind of an attack on other healthcare facilities in your region. So our ability to see the big picture and provide this kind of targeted, personalized threat intelligence and content is another way that we help organizations keep the bad guys out.
This AI does the predicting of the potential threats that these industries could face, and you would advise, or you would be able to guide these organizations in terms of how to combat these threats, or potentially put in place other means or solutions that could anticipate any newer threats that we have not seen before. I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, it's really a combination of both. We are obviously using AI to analyze logs and find threats in them, known threats. But we're also using machine learning models to try and identify never before seen attacks. So I will give you an example. Maybe there's kind of a known attack technique where somebody obtains a compromised password and then from that logs into some kind of a device, and from that jumps to another device and then executes malicious code and then starts exfiltrating data. We call that a kill chain, or a threat model, another common name. And there are a lot of known threat models, but sometimes attackers will come up with new techniques that have never been seen before. And they may even do that with the help of AI. What we do is we leverage machine learning to try and build these attack pictures in a dynamic fashion. So even if it's an attack that we've never seen before, we use AI and ML to conclude with certain level of probability that these discrete events are actually connected together and compose a picture of an attack.
Now, I mean, I could be wrong, but I just can't seem to shake this feeling that the growing reliance on AI for cybersecurity could potentially become a double-edged sword. I mean, what I mean by that is, while it offers a lot of potential for automating routine tasks and detecting threats and all that, it could also raise concerns about the potential for over-reliance and maybe a loss of human judgment. I'd like to get your opinion on how organizations can ensure, a harmonious balance between automation and human oversight. Maybe we can also touch on, like ethical considerations and how to establish clear guidelines to maintain, transparency and accountability.
Yeah, those are several pretty heavy topics. So let's try and touch them at least superficially. So first of all, regarding having a human in the loop, we are very careful not to say that we can replace human analysts. My objective is to take the human analysts and make them more efficient by giving them context, by giving them higher probability incidents that are really investigation worthy, and giving them enough information to be able to execute their workflows for detection, validation, incrimination, summarization, and response or remediation as quickly as possible. Now, if I'm still going to need a human to do that, but if I can get them to do it 10 times faster than they were able to do it before, I can now improve the capacity and the efficiency and the ROI of these analysts. And as a result, they'll be able to handle more sophisticated threats per analyst because they are much more efficient in the way they can do that. Is there a day where you could potentially take humans completely out of the loop? I mean, that's an age-old question in IT automation in general. There has been trends where you would say, things happen autonomously, automatically. We've heard talk about self-healing networks and self-healing this and that. I think that there's still inherent risk in complete automation and taking humans completely out of the loop. And I would be more comfortable knowing that I did everything, put it in front of the human, and the human made the final decision on whether a certain application needs to be shut down for maintenance because it's compromised, or a port needs to be shut down in the firewall because it's being used for an active attack. But at the end of the day, I'm going to leave that decision to the operator that uses the product. Regarding ethical concerns, we certainly see a lot of questions about the use of AI in our products. We see it more and more in sales agreements and questionnaires and RFPs. So having proper AI governance is critical for an organization like mine. So we do have an AI governance committee in the company that has product people, technology and engineering people, and legal people as well. And we govern ourselves in a very open manner. We provide documentation, and even to the extent of allowing customers to opt out of using certain types of AI in our products.
Does Securonix also help clients with the developing guidelines and accountability, governance, and all that stuff? I mean, do you provide counsel for those parts as well, besides providing the solutions?
Yeah, we're a product company, so that would be less of our forte. We'll definitely have open discussions with customers about it and share our expertise. But I wouldn't say we go as far as being consultants for the field of AI governance. That's not what we do.
Right. Okay, so let's shift our focus away from technology for a moment, and let's consider the cultural and the organizational leadership factors. Right. I believe these are very crucial for success in an AI-driven cybersecurity landscape. So, in your view, what organizational and cultural shifts are really necessary to foster a strong cybersecurity culture and ensure effective leadership, commitment, and also promote continuous learning in the face of evolving threats?
Yeah, I think this is really critical and a big factor of the cybersecurity maturity of organizations. I think the organizations that we typically deal with in Securonix are fairly mature. Our ideal customer profile would be a very, very large organization. We service some of the biggest companies in the world. I can't name names, but some of them are with testimonials on our websites. We serve customers in all geographies, all sizes, all verticals, to the tune of customers that send us millions of events per second, so million lines of logs per second that we process for them. And the reason I'm mentioning it is because we typically do see a good level of maturity within these organizations that build a strong cyber culture, sometimes because they have that need to continue and run their business, but many times also because of a regulatory and compliance pressure. And I think that's a critical point. I think our regulators are doing better and better job demanding that the entities, the companies, the agencies that run the world, whether it's the economy or critical services or healthcare systems, they demand that these cybersecurity organizations do their job well in these companies. Yeah. And there are real consequences if they do. So we see accountability within the C-suite. We see punishments and fines. And as far as some chief information security officers getting personally prosecuted for negligence or lack of disclosure of their cybersecurity ecosystem. And I think that's great. I mean, I'm not speaking here as a vendor who is selling products to those executives, but rather as a consumer. I want to know that my money is safe in my bank, that my critical infrastructure, my water, my electricity is going to continue to flow. I want to know that my hospital will continue to operate. So I do think it's the regulator's job to ensure that the cybersecurity culture and the investment and the accountability exists in the organizations that serve us.
Yeah, that's the thing, because in the course of the last few years, I've spoken to a number of CEOs and some business owners, and whether it's a cybersecurity implementation or any other technology implementation, could it be for automation or all that, one of the biggest challenges they always say is to get the buy-in of the whole organization. It's always like someone is always skeptical about something. I guess you can't run away from it, but yeah, as long as we have like a proper, a set of rules or, guidelines and actively encourages transparency and accountability, then I think we should be in for less controversy and more effective use of AI and for the purpose that it's there for. All right, Haggai. So now I'm moving into the crystal ball time. So gazing into the future, right, what are the most disruptive AI innovations that you foresee could potentially revolutionize the cybersecurity landscape, and how organizations can prepare themselves for these advancements?
Yeah, and I think the future is now in many ways. I mean, when we see the adoption of AI within the cybersecurity community, if you walk around in a trade show, we had two big ones this year, RSA and Black Hat. It's compulsory and mandatory for vendors to talk about the contribution that AI has and how everybody's embedding AI. I think that co-pilots and chatbots that will help analysts do their job are going to evolve, and they're going to get better, and they're going to get effective. Today, they're not quite there, and we're actually at a period where a lot of analysts start to document the disillusionment from AI. I mean, we were all last year and earlier this year sold some kind of a future that an analyst doesn't really need to understand the tools. They'll just log in the morning, type what's going on. Okay, here are the top threats you need to deal with. Do you want me to help explain you these threats? And I think we're all seeing that things are not quite that simple, and analysts don't use chatbots to do the work for them, and that there's still some skills that are needed. So I think the future lies in, again, identify some of the most high friction activities for security personnel. In my space, for example, that would be to do threat hunting and typing complex search queries. So it would be great if the end user didn't have to know the query language. They could just type natural language searches. Building effective policies is another high friction area. It's complicated to do. It requires a lot of steps. It requires expertise. It's error prone. So giving me some kind of a genie, we call it the policy genie, to help you with that policy creation task. Those are the kind of things that I think will really prove useful and improve the time to first value of products and reduce the cost of ownership of those products, because the learning curve and errors will be highly reduced. So to kind of summarize, I think we're going to see products that are just easier to use, easier to configure, easier to integrate into your environments with the help of Gen AI capabilities that will essentially take some of the more complicated tasks and make them much more approachable and easy.
All right, this is great stuff, Haggai. Your perspectives have provided with a much better understanding of the future of AI and cybersecurity, and the challenges that lie ahead. I suppose we can't run away from that. So thank you so much, Haggai. It's been great hosting you today.
Yeah, thank you. It's been great talking about this stuff.
As we continue to face new and emerging cyber threats, it's more important than ever to stay informed and take proactive steps to protect ourselves. By understanding the latest trends in AI and cybersecurity, we can better equip ourselves to defend against sophisticated cyber threats. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to CXpose.tech on YouTube and follow us on LinkedIn and Instagram. The links are in the description. I'll see you again in our next episode with more tech and more talk.